You heard Norbert during a press conference while declaring his candidacy for speakership race of the 12th Parliament of Uganda, clearly stated that even Museveni was a speaker. Now, let's leave out the narrative and whatever it was meaning. This is something that many people do not know. Let's ask ourselves, what is true, what is right, what is clear and what is not clear. Welcome to Getting It Clear on Acholi Pro Evo TV. And let's start with Mao's statement.
But it's important to reflect about it. The parliament has had towering figures from the Mzungu briefing, and President Museveni was also Speaker of Parliament anyway. And most of the time it was his deputy Alhaji Musa Kifongo who was presiding. Then we had people like Mopakabulo.
Introducing it to you, following the National Resistance Army's takeover of power on January 26, 1986, Museveni assumed leadership of Uganda as president. Concurrently, he served as chairman of the National Resistance Council, that's NRC, the body that functioned as Uganda's legislator during the transitional period from 1986 to 1996. In effect, Museveni acted as both head of state and presiding officer of the legislative arm of government for a decade. Institutional context. The National Resistance Council, NRC, was established as an interim legislative authority after years of political instability and civil conflict. It replaced the previous parliamentary system and operated under a movement political framework which restricted multi-party competition. Unlike later parliaments constituted through universal suffrage under the 1995 constitution, the NRC was partly composed of appointed members and representatives from resistance councils, the army, and special interest groups. It functioned as both a law-making body and a transitional governance mechanism. Role as chairman. As chairman of the NRC, Museveni performed duties equivalent to those of a Speaker of Parliament. His responsibilities included presiding over legislative sessions, guiding debates and legislative processes, overseeing the passage of laws, directing the transition toward constitutional reform. However, unlike a conventional parliamentary democracy, where the Speaker is institutionally independent from the executive, Museveni simultaneously held the presidency. This meant the separation of powers was structurally limited during this transitional era. Duration of service. January 26, 1986 to 1996. Total duration 10 years. Parliamentary phase commonly associated with the 5th Parliament period, though under a transitional arrangement. This period culminated in the promulgation of the 1995 Constitution of Uganda, which restored a more clearly defined separation of powers and established the modern Parliament of Uganda. Historical significance. Museveni's dual role remains a notable episode in Uganda's political history. It reflected a centralized transitional governance model aimed at stabilizing the country after prolonged unrest. Critics argue it consolidated executive authority, while supporters maintain it ensured cohesion during Reconstruction. The 1996 general elections marked the end of this arrangement, transitioning Uganda into a constitutional parliamentary system under the new legal framework. So when Norbert says Museveni was also a Speaker of Parliament, in conclusion, between 1986 and 1996, Museveni presided over Uganda's legislature as chairman of the NRC while serving as president. This decade represented a transitional governance model that shaped Uganda's modern constitutional order and legislative architecture. So, in that position, he was acting as a speaker and being a president. Thank you.